Well, if the the goofy thumbnail picture brought you here to this video, congratulations. You have made it. Okay, let's talk about what the hell happens when you get one singular coin back from grading. Now, I had a good friend of mine, Adam, Coins and Ghouls, submit this coin for me that I had cherry picked from a dealer. It was actually pretty awesome. One single coin that he had submitted in for me. What in the world is wrong with me? All right, so you guys know me. I've pitched and pleaded and have recommended that if you're going to do a grading submission, you got to do multiple coins. Don't just send one. All right? And the big reason why is it's going to be so expensive to send in just one coin. You know, you got to pay for the submission fees. In this case, it was $40 because it's a regular submission fee or whatever. The regular tier submission through PCGS. And then you got to pay for the shipping off of one coin. That's completely up to you, depending on value. Depending on your value that you put on it, you might send it registered mail. Registered mail generally is the way to go. And that is the only way to go per PCGS or NGC or whoever you use. All right, so you're going to end up, you know, the regular submission tier is $40. You're going to spend, I'm just going to throw a number out there, $10 on shipping. You need to pay for the shipping for the coin to come back at the same scheduled insurance value or market value or whatever you put on there, or whatever PCGS deems is the market value of the coin. Because obviously if you put like a $250 value on there and you originally started out with the economy tier, which is up to, I think, $300 in value, and now all of a sudden the grade of the coin pushes it to the next tier, they're going to enhance that. They're going to adjust how much they charge you and how much the insured value of the coin is going to be coming back to you. Have I mentioned how much I hate submitting just one singular coin? All right. Yeah, it's a virtual like, okay, what's next? And the grade of the coin is not all that bad. This is a sexy ass coin. This Franklin $half proof, 1954. This one ended up coming back as a proof 67 cameo. My God, what a crispy looking coin that is. Look how sultry and clean. And so it's a 67 cameo. It has a PCGS price guide value of $425. Now, as you guys know, that's kind of similar to a printed price guide, right? A red book price guide. Very rarely do coins ever sell for that price guide value that you see online, whether it's through PCGS's price guide or NGC's price guide. It makes no difference. If you had like 10 of these, all 10 of them will not sell for $425 a piece. Some will be a little bit less, some will be a little bit more. There's eye appeal involved, toning, various other intangibles go into this, okay? So here's my dilemma, okay? This is going to be acting like everyone else out there in YouTube land, all my viewers and all that. I feel like I got stiffed a little bit on a grade of this. The cameo is fine. I expected the cameo contrast on this coin. However, this thing was clean enough that I thought it could be a 68. All right. So the difference in price guide value between this and a 68 is actually quite considerable. This is 4 1/4 for a 67. For a 68, it's $1,400. So a 68 cameo is almost $1,000 more. So when you're kind of going all in on these type of submissions, because with one singular coin, that's kind of what it feels like, is that you're putting all the chips, you're going all in on one coin. in the hopes that it's going to come back kind of like the overachieving grade level that you think it was going to be. Ended up coming back one grade point lower. Now, with all things considering, I'm still going to make money off of this because I had originally purchased the entire proof set from my local coin shop for $80. And for a 1954 proof set, that is within the wheelhouse. They could actually go a lot higher than that. But I think I got lucky grabbing this proof set at $80 because I've seen some sell for in excess of 100 plus. So it's a very stunning coin, beautiful coin. It's actually the highest pop in the cameo level out of any other grade. So there are more 67 cameos than, say, 66 cameos. There's more of this than 68 cameos by quite a margin. All right, but please use this as a little bit of a lesson because, sending in one singular coin is nothing new, all right? I think what supports the practice of sending in just one coin is the value, the dollar value. If the coin raw has a value of $1,000, $2,000, $10,000, $50,000 or higher, some of these more extravagant pieces that already has the value and doesn't really take into account designations like cameo, contrast, or full steps, or full red, or full split bands, full torch, things like that, then that would be a common sense thing to send in just one because of the value. The value supports that. But when you have one coin that has a value of around $35, even before you get it graded, and you don't know if it's a comeback cameo. I was actually kind of worried that this thing was not going to come back cameo because of the weakness of the cameo right there on the tip of Franklin's bust, okay, which is like right here next to the date, which is a common area for a amount of loss of that frost. Some of you may not be aware, but on the actual dies, they sandblast the devices on the dies to produce the frost on proof coins. Quick little tidbit. Some of you may not already know that. But here we are, okay? We got our one singular coin back. Our one coin came back in the mail. And it was a grade point lower than what I expected it to be. Now, obviously the results are going to vary with you folks because I have a lot of people who are deeply interested in sending off much more modern coins than this. Heck, I had a guy the other day. Hey, I have a 1990 Lincoln cent that looks every bit the part of the coin that you had on your Monday Market video, and I want to go ahead and send it in. He claims it's way better than that. All right, beware to pay the piper. Okay, from both ends, because you're going to spend a lot of money sending the coin out because obviously you're going to be paying a much higher tier right out of the gate for it. And you're going to pay more for the shipping because obviously if you think you have a $10,000 1990 Lincoln cent, you're going to pay the registered mail fee for it. And then you're going to pay for it coming back because PCGS won't change that. They're not going to say, oh, yeah, your coin came back AU details environmental damage, because we're talking a 1990 Lincoln cent. It's probably got zinc rot on it. Okay, so, that's kind of like the dilemma. The dilemma could be a lot worse, but even me sending out quite a nice type coin right here would pale in comparison to the person that had paid and invested maybe $150, $200 to get that 1990 Lincoln cent in. Now you're at a crossroads. You're like, okay, well, I just did this whole experiment and I ended up not getting what I want. So what's next? Well, there's only two things you could do. I could crack this out and resubmit it. Now, would it be worth my time and energy? It might be, but I'm going to have to go back because now I'm second guessing my grade on this. I'm going to have to go back and re-examine the coin even before I decide to crack this out. And then, just kind of play it, but this is probably the least, kind of like important regrade, if I had to guess, because, it could come back 67 without the cameo. It could. This could fall into the hands of another grader, and then, I would get a completely different result. So, at this point, it's either you crack it out, you send it back in, or you cut your losses and you say, okay, that experiment didn't quite work out, but what you got to do with a coin? All right, you're probably going to end up keeping it because you own it for however much your submission fees are, plus any other associated value. If it's an actual valuable coin, then it's obviously going to be a valuable coin with or without the plastic. But in any event, for those coins that for a lot of first timers out there that believe that they have something, whether it's an error or a variety because they watch Joe Schmo on YouTube or someone on Instagram, I'm telling you, if they don't come back the way you think they are and they come back damaged or unattributed and you had spent all this money for that type of grading tier, all right, chalk it up as a loss. Chalk it up as a loss, but you'll always have that one sample slab of something that you should never ever send to the graders. And I think the end result grading slab that comes back to you is probably the best educational tool through it all, because you're going to know exactly what that coin is, and you're not going to make the same damn mistake ever again, because it gets expensive. And then from here, we're constantly learning, right? We're getting a little bit of that educational aspect under our belt. We're learning more about the grading process. And because of that, when you put forward first the education, learning how to grade, learning about what all the various U.S. type coins existed since the beginning from 1780 something till now, then you're going to be in a much better position when you get to the point where you want to, kind of be a little bit more brave and send more coins to the grading services. You're going to have a lot more, you're going to be a lot more, what's the word? Confident. You're going to be a lot more confident when you go to do your next grading rather than more uncertainty. The uncertainty kills people in the grading game. But with education, you know what to look for, you know what to send, and you will be close. You'll be a lot closer to where your outcome's going to be than not. So that's why I wanted to talk about. Cool little coin right here. Hopefully you guys got a little lesson. I know there's a lot of you out there that's like, I'm ready to go with this thing and send off more coins to the grading companies. Let's go all in. When in reality, you don't really have to do that. I'm your host, Sean, with BlueRidgeSilverhound. Thank you for coming on by. And remember, you guys have fun with the hobby. That's most important. If you're not having fun, don't do it. Because it can be a money pit, a money trap, and you don't want to be there with this. So that's it. I'll see you guys later. Have a great weekend, and keep on collecting. Peace.